Bonjour, Bigates, que pasa, Zdravstvuyte, ni hao ma. Greetings. This is a talk focused on breaking down the UCLA versus Kentucky game. Um, there are a number of ways you can slice games up, but another method for review is sort of comparing, you know, each position, coaches, experience, et cetera, et cetera. So the first thing I'd like to do is look at the coaching comparison. Um, in this case, I believe that there's no doubt that Calipari has more big game experience. He has national championships, which Alford doesn't. So if you read the press, there's a lot of hatred towards Steve Alford. The thing that people in UCLA are not thinking about is the fact that there are a lot of great coaches across the country. The very best of the coaches typically have excellent situations that they're not leaving. So, to some extent, everyone is stuck finding a reasonably good coach and trying to grow them into a great coach. And once you grow them there, can you keep them if they do a good job? Or are they so old they retire, or for some other reason choose to leave? I'm thinking about Larry Brown and the fact that he thought about going to Stanford, but he couldn't because his family wanted him to be closer to the East Coast. So I bring all this up because in this game, I think the matchup coach-wise, the edge goes to Kentucky. When we look at the starting five, um, I think that Kentucky actually has an edge because their players are all five stars, and most of them will go pro after 1 year. The challenge, though, is that um, in the case of UCLA, they do have at least two, if not three, players who are one and dones. But in this case, Lonzo Ball's play is more reflective of a senior or a guy who's a first year in the NBA type player than it is of a freshman. Um, I'm fascinated because Lonzo Ball reminds me of some of the conversations you have about quarterbacks, where you can pay a receiver a huge amount of money, but the receiver's hands are on the ball only so many plays every game. In the case of the quarterback, they touch the ball every play. So one could argue then that because Lonzo Ball is the quarterback and he's considered a top three type of pick, um, he makes up for a lot of the issues. Um, Number two, so head to head, I think the player on player comparison, the potential of the Kentucky players is better. They're more experienced than the last time they played. And particularly Fox is awesome because he's bigger than guys that usually play him. He's almost the size of a five, but with the agility of a two. So he's a very difficult stop for any team. And I think that there are double teams that are going to be painful for UCLA that they're going to have to deal with. I think that so I think they match up well. Clearly, Fox is a better player and taller than Steve Alford, so I think they're going to have to make some adjustments, maybe in playing time, etc., to bring off the bench other players. Um, the second reason why I think, as we look through those matchups, while Alford, on one hand, is a shorter player and doesn't have the hops to deal with a Fox, for example, the benefit you get is he's a senior. He can rotate into the quarterback or point guard position if you need him to. And I found it interesting because one of UCLA's plays this year has been if Lonzo Ball is playing against a shorter player or someone who can't jump as high as he is, they'll actually post him up for easy baskets to force another thought process into the mind of the opposing team. And so I think, we'll see how that plays out. Another interesting possibility is will Calipari consider putting Fox at the point because he creates similar problems that Lonzo Ball would. But when you're playing really at this high level, not only sort of sneaking into the point guard position makes sense, you really want to have someone who sees the floor well and is a true floor general, which is what Lonzo Ball is in this case. So if we go man to man across the board, I believe the edge goes to Kentucky, especially now that we're at the end of the season and those freshmen really are sophomores in terms of the level of experience they have and understanding of how the game is played at this level. So I give the edge raw numbers of star players to Kentucky, but I do believe that because of Ball's play and how critical he is as the quarterback, I think he makes the difference in this game to push it over the top. Many UCLA fans are arguing against Steve Alford because what they're saying is just give the ball to Lonzo Ball and he takes care of everything. And to some extent, that's the case. I'm fascinated by him because there's a Tiger Woods comparison I once heard where Tiger's a five-shot guy, meaning that anytime he would hit a golf ball, he had five different ways he could get the ball to the hole. He could hook it right, hook it left, come over the top, go low, all these different ways where most players don't have that creativity. In the case of Ball, he has five-shot capability. He can go post you up. He can dish. He can drive the lane. He can shoot a three. Um, you know, he has all of these different ways in which he potentially um, is a threat to the other team. So the opposing team has to spend a lot of energy trying to figure him out to get the win. Um, I believe if UCLA hits their shots, which they'll get open ones because Ball is so good at it, they easily win this game. There is a possibility, though, that they are off on their shot and therefore lose. But what's nice is that they have outside shooters and they have an inside presence as well, via which they can score. And if need be, Ball can drive the lane. Um, a, a final note on who and why I think they win because of Ball is what I call the Steve Nash uh, attributes that Ball has. Nash had a habit with every team he played for that his job was to pass first. If there were points needed, he would all of a sudden show off his scoring prowess. And I think watching Ball is amazing to watch him sort of feel the game, feel when it's time to jack up a three or maybe drive the lane, to sort of give the defense of the other team another wrinkle if they're cheating to cover the passing lanes that he keeps hitting so effortlessly. I definitely think it's going to be a close game, but I think in the end, the fact that Ball plays more like a 40-year-old man than he does a first-year college player is quite awesome. And so I'm picking UCLA in this game. I believe that UCLA can go all the way, with the only team having the manpower to deal with them effectively being actually Kansas. Great team. So we'll see what happens. Enjoy and have a great day. Thanks. Bye.